Hey, this is Kip, and this is part 5 of my OnAir Company guide. And in this part, we're going to talk all about FBOs. FBO stands for Fixed Base Operator. In OnAir Company, an FBO can store and sell fuel. It can provide tie-downs for planes, hangars for cargo, and rooms for crew to rest in. It also serves as a base of operations for your airline company, and it'll generate jobs either in a certain direction from your FBO or between multiple FBOs. FBOs are related to another feature in OnAir Company called regular routes, but regular routes are actually for human flights only, so you can't have your AI fly those, and you have to have more than one FBO set up to define regular routes for your airline company. I will eventually get into doing regular routes, but for now we're going to focus on FBOs and also using AI, if you do that, with your FBOs. Before we make our first FBO, you need to make sure that you have the correct skill unlocked in the skills tree. So first, go up to My Company and then the skills tree. And here you need to make sure you have at least 1 point in the FBO's agreement right here on the left. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and hit the little plus button here to use a point, and then hit save in the bottom right. If you don't have any more skill points left to distribute and get the FBO's agreement, go to the top and go to the pending jobs button right here, the little clock icon, and I would recommend doing whichever mission you have available. So that'll be the job here with the little trophy icon, and this will get you a lot of XP really quickly. All right, now let's go look at the FBOs screen. We get there by going to My Company and then FBOs. For me, I've already created an FBO in advance because it takes 48 or more hours to actually build the FBO. For you, you'll probably see a button in the middle that says something like, to get started, go to the airport database. And so the FBOs are managed from this screen, but when you want to create a new one, you need to go up to World and then Airports. Or you can go to the map and just click on any airport. I'm going to click one over here. I'm going to do New Orleans International. But once you get here, you just click the airport and then click this airport sheet button. And that'll also take you over to the airport page. If you know the specific airport code already, you can just click on World and then Airports. And then here in the top left, put in the code of the airport you want to go to the page of, and then click on the display button. Here in the top right, you can see the list of FBOs that are at this current airport. Now I can already see there are 5 total FBOs here. So if I'm looking to get into selling fuel or selling my mechanics services in a workshop at my FBO, this might not be the best place to do it because the competition looks pretty high. But my plan is to just use my FBOs for myself, so I'm not really worried about that. So I'm just going to hit the Create an FBO button up here. And you'll see that it gives you an alert, a little warning here. And it says to fully exploit an FBO, you'll want to invest in the workshop agreement, fuel seller agreement, and workshop service selling skills. Now, you don't need any of these to start the FBO and make it usable for your company. The workshops agreement will let you perform maintenance and inspections on planes. Those only come up if you're leasing or own the planes. And right now, I'm just renting, so I don't have to worry about maintaining the planes. And the other two, the fuel seller and the workshop selling, those are if you want to sell those services to other players. So for now, this is fine. I'm just going to hit OK, and we're going to get to the Create FBO screen. Here on the left, you can see a list of 5 things that we can configure at the FBO. The first one, cargo hangar, is actually kind of a mystery to me. It does say in the manual that you can store special types of cargo here that you can pick up with your plane. I think the only thing that I've seen that might be stored there are fuel containers if you purchase them yourself and instead of just putting them in your FBO's fuel tanks. But I'm just going to kind of skip that one because I haven't used it yet. Then we have the 100 low lead and jet fuel tanks. Now, when you purchase them here, we're actually specifying a number of gallons of capacity, how much fuel of that type we want to be able to hold at our FBO. So this isn't purchasing fuel yet. We have to do that after we build the FBO. But this is how much we can hold. So I have 2 Grand Caravans right now, so I don't actually have a need for 100 low lead. So I'm only going to build some jet fuel tanks. But mattering which types of planes that you fly, you may want one or both of these fuel tank types at your FBO. I'm going to go ahead and just choose 1,000 gallons of jet fuel tanks for now. Next up are crew rooms, which apply to AI employees only. If you have crew rooms, then it'll reduce the cost of overnight stays for your employees when they stay at this FBO. If your employees land somewhere and have to rest, you're charged for basically a hotel stay in that city for your employees. But if you happen to have an FBO there, then they'll sleep in your crew room instead of paying for a hotel. So because I plan on flying my single AI pilot named Jurgen around between my FBOs, I'm going to choose one crew room for now. And lastly, we have aircraft tie downs. And if you have a tie down at an FBO, then when your plane lands there, you can avoid paying the airport parking fees. So I'm going to go ahead and put one here as well. And then you can enter your FBO name at the top right here. I'm just going to name this On the Ground at New Orleans. There we go. When you're done naming it and you have the configuration you want, go ahead and hit Get a Quotation at the bottom. So now you'll see the cost breakdown and how long it'll take to configure this FBO. And when you're ready, you can just hit Accept. Once you're back at the FBO screen, you should see your new FBO listed. And then on the far right, you'll have a little icon over here that's a little under construction icon. And when you move your mouse over that, it'll tell you how much time is left to complete that construction. My FBO at Arcadia has already been built, so you can see here that it's totally completed, and I have some icons over here. If I go into the Manage section, you can see how I've configured it. So here's my FBO at Arcadia. You can see I have 500 gallons of jet fuel, one crew room, and one tie down. And the weekly ownership of this FBO is only 600 credits a week, compared with the one that I just got a quote for at New Orleans, which was 6,000 a week. So mattering how many credits you have, you probably want to start at smaller airports for your FBOs. Otherwise, it's going to cost you a lot more money. In the top right area, this is where we manage our fuel tanks. So we can place orders for fuel to refill them, and it shows the current price per gallon. So once you choose a number of gallons to order, you can hit Order Fuel, and then that's going to take 24 hours for the fuel to be delivered. You're going to start saving money right away by purchasing and using your own gas, because even here at this tiny airport at Arcadia, the price per gallon for jet fuel at the default FBO is almost 5 credits a gallon. And here you can see when we buy it ourselves, it's only $3.35 a gallon. Here in the bottom right, we have the Logistic Queries. So this is basically a job generator, and it makes jobs from our current FBO to another direction or another FBO. Because I only have one FBO right now, I just have it set up in a specific direction. So you can say what cardinal direction you prefer the jobs to go towards. Since I'm in southern Florida, it makes sense for me to choose north or northwest if I want to stay within the United States. So I have this set to northwest. When you get multiple FBOs, you can have it choose randomly from the FBOs that are within the mile range that you set here, or you can change it to selected FBOs. And if you had multiple FBOs, you could just choose exactly which FBOs you want the jobs to go to. So in my case, because I just have one FBO right now, I'm just going to choose a cardinal direction. The rest of the settings here are similar to what you see when you're searching for a job from the regular logistics center. I can set the preferred range of the flight, so I put up to 500 miles. The preferred airport size, so a minimum and a maximum, I just chose from 1 to 5, so I'll go to any size airport. Over here, you configure your cargo and passenger preferences. I have a Grand Caravan that my AI pilot uses that's configured to have 9 first-class seats, so I chose that. And then here, I chose to exclude military airports, and then you can also decide whether to have a return leg generated or not. I have this checked because I want the jobs to take us back here to Arcadia at the end of the job. So it'll generate multiple legs and eventually come back to Arcadia. And I want that because I want my pilot to rest here in the crew room I built. I want them to use the aircraft tie down. And then I want them to use our fuel tanks to have cheaper fuel when they set out for their next job. When you're done setting your preferences for the jobs here, just hit the Save Query Parameters button. To see which jobs have been created, just click at the Look at Current Jobs Proposal button. And this is a shortcut to take you over to the Pending Job screen, and then go to this FBO Queries tab right here. So I can see there are two different FBO generated jobs already. One is actually expiring tonight, so I should probably get on this. And then the other one is a little fresher. It's expiring in 19 hours. And the job that it generated here is taking 22 passengers between 6 different airports. And you can see that the final leg here returns back to Arcadia, X-ray 06. So this is that return leg option that we chose. So it will bring us back to our origin airport. I can also see that there's actually a problem with this job for me, and it's because I haven't taken it quickly enough, and now it's considered a last-minute job. So up here, there's this little information icon. When I hover over it, it says your company cannot accept last-minute jobs yet. I don't have the 4 skill points that I need to unlock last-minute jobs, but I do have points to put in FBOs still. If I point at the little boxes at the bottom of FBOs agreement, it says that if I put another skill point in it, I'll get 2 more logistic query licenses. It says it delivers every 1 and 2 days. And if I keep pointing at this, you can get 5, 8, and 10 logistics query licenses. So that means that it'll be generating 10 rounds of jobs instead of just 1 every 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 more point into my FBOs agreement and then go down here and hit save. Now I'm going to go up to my FBOs again under the My Company menu and then go to Manage the Arcadia FBO. And now down here I can see I have 3 different logistic queries, not just the first one. So I can click on Q2 right here and it says there are already new jobs available. So I'll be able to configure this right now and then hit Look at Current Jobs and then accept those jobs. So I'm going to configure this one the same way I configured the first one. 10 to 500 miles going to the north, and then the airport size between 0 and 5. I don't care what size airport it is. For passengers, I'm going to go to 9 and then choose first class because I reconfigured my planes to have 2 first class Grand Caravans. So each of them can carry 9 passengers. And once again, I'm going to add a return leg and exclude military airports. I don't like flying into military airports personally just because I usually use real-world approach charts and procedures, and the military airports, I'm not going to be realistically flying those, so it just makes sense for me to not fly at military airports. Now that I have my preferences for this query, I just need to hit the Save button, and then I can hit this button to generate the jobs. And that's what we're doing when we press this. We're actually generating the job when we hit this button. It's not going to automatically generate jobs and put them in your pending jobs list. And that's a good thing because imagine that all 3 of these were generating jobs every 24 hours, but I took a week off from OnAir Company or something like that. I would have jobs constantly expiring. So we actually are responsible to click this button to generate the jobs for ourselves. So I'll go in here, and now that I saved it, I can just click Look at Current Jobs. So the second FBO query generated another last-minute job that I can't take yet, which is pretty annoying. So what I did was I went back in, configured my third FBO query, saved those parameters, and generated the third job. And now I got lucky, I guess, and got one that I can take that is not a last-minute job. So just a note for us for the future, we're going to want to do the next mission level that'll get us, I think, 2 or 3 more skill points. But I need to get a total of 4 skill points in order to unlock last minute jobs and make it so we can take all these last minute jobs that our FBO queries are generating. So until then, I just have to hope that it's generating a non-last minute job that I can actually do. And by me, I mean my AI employees. These 3 jobs will just eventually expire and then disappear from this list, and we won't be charged a penalty for them because we didn't and we can't accept these jobs. We only get a penalty if we accept and then don't complete a job. Now, hopefully you've gotten at least 1 job that you can take. I would recommend putting that other skill point in FBO queries if you want to do these regularly. And they do pay pretty well. So if we go ahead and look at this one, this is a 3-leg job that pays us $9,000, and it's all within this area. Back in part 3 of this guide, we looked at work orders, and we used those to find and string together a bunch of jobs for our AI pilots to fly. And what's really nice about FBO queries is that all of these jobs are already chained together. And because I ticked that checkbox that says add a return leg, it's bringing my pilot back to Arcadia at the end of it. If you fly in the same area of the world constantly or the same area of the country constantly, then FBOs are probably useful for you to set up because you can have kind of a home base where you can really cut down on your costs. FBOs let you cut down on maintenance, on parking, on fuel, and if you happen to use AI pilots, it cuts down on the cost of their hotel stays. But if you tend to fly all around the world and you don't really have any area that's kind of your home base, an FBO is not going to be really useful for you because you're not going to be flying into a specific airport over and over again. So I would consider those things if you're deciding on whether or not to build one or more FBOs. All right, so that's it for this video. We have our first FBO set up and we learned how to use FBO queries, which are the jobs that our FBO generates for us. I'm going to go ahead and create a work order to have my AI employee do this FBO query right here. And then I'm going to get to work on this level 3 mission right here that'll earn us 3000 XP and get us up to level 4, giving us a few more skill points to use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.